Hi guys, Recap Corner here. Today, we're gonna be doing a big breakdown to discuss our film's safe, spoilers ahead. Be prepared, grab your popcorn, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride. Residing in Nanjing, China, a young girl named Mei. She possesses an exceptional talent for mathematics, demonstrating a remarkable ability to solve complex mathematical problems mentally. Additionally, May has an exceptional memory, never failing to remember any series of numbers that she encounters. One day, May's walking home with her friends when a group of men abduct her. She is brought to a Chinese mafia leader named Han. As the digital data of Han's criminal enterprise is traceable, he desires to utilize May as his personal mental calculator, making her memorize the data for him. Initially, the young girl refuses to comply, but when he threatens to kill her mother, she consents to do as he says. Under the care of their trusted gang member, Chang, May is brought to New York, where she is hidden as his daughter. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, Luke, a former cop and cage fighter, is in an intense match with his opponent, which he had set up to lose. However, he accidentally throws a punch at his opponent and knocks him out into a coma. This unexpected win angers Emil, the head of the Russian mafia, who had bet millions of dollars on Luke's defeat. Luke becomes aware that his family is at risk because of the wrath of the enraged gangster. He hurries back home, but it's too late. Vasily, the son of the gangster, has already murdered his pregnant wife. The death of his wife leaves Luke heartbroken, but despite being capable of fighting back, he chooses not to retaliate. The thugs then warn him that they will execute anyone with whom he communicates or meets. Luke is left with no options and nowhere to go. After the incident, Luke returns to his hometown, New York, and begins living as a homeless person. He wanders aimlessly through the streets of Manhattan, trying to cope with his loss. Meanwhile, a year passes, and May is still being forced to work with the gang. Cheng takes her on a weekly tour of Chinatown, where she memorizes the net profit or loss percentage of each store. The store owners are obligated to pay the gang a certain amount of money based on their profits, and May proves to be an essential asset to them. As she continues to work with the gang, she learns more about how the gangster world operates. Elsewhere, Luke resides in an extremely disorganized homeless shelter. One night, he encounters a man who has no shoes and severe foot infections. Moved by compassion, he gives the man his brand new shoes. Unfortunately, the following day, he awakens to find out that the man's throat had been slit and his shoes had been stolen overnight. It's safe to say that Luke's living situation is dire. While May is still mourning her mother's death, a woman who works closely with Chang visits her late at night to inform her of the news. The next day, Han, the leader of the gang, arrives in New York for the first time since May was sent to the city. He hands May a piece of paper with a series of numbers and asks her to memorize them, which she does in less than 10 seconds. Han burns the paper to ashes, indicating the importance of the numbers and ensuring that only May knows them. Chang takes May to the next location where she's instructed to memorize a second set of numbers upon arrival. However, their plans are disrupted when they are ambushed by the Russian mafia, led by Emil, the same gangster responsible for killing Luke's wife. The Russians are also after May for the valuable information she holds. A violent gunfight breaks out, resulting in the Chinese gang's defeat and May's kidnapping by the Russians. Luke is having a tough day after someone steals his breakfast money. While attempting to make a purchase, he runs into a former police colleague who brings him to an abandoned building to meet with other cops. In the past, Luke had exposed their corrupt dealings with local gangsters, resulting in their trouble. The cops still hold a grudge against him and physically attack and berate him, but Luke refuses to fight back. Finally, one cop offers Luke a gun, pressuring him to take his own life. However, Luke declines and leaves the scene. As May is brought before the Russian gang leader Emil, she realizes that the woman who informed her of her mother's death was actually working with Emil all along. Emil demands that May give him the numbers she has memorized, but May refuses. She even warns the woman that she will be killed because she doesn't understand how the gangster world operates. True to her words, the men promptly shoot the woman dead as she is of no further use to them. As May refuses to disclose the numbers, she is aware that she may suffer the same fate as the lady who betrayed her. Meanwhile, a corrupt police captain, Wolf, arrives at the Russian hideout on orders from the Chinese leader Han. However, Wolf is not acting on the basis of the law but is driven by the desire for money. Emil, the Russian gang leader, offers Wolf twice the amount promised by Han to leave his hideout, and Wolf agrees to the deal and leaves. At this point, May manages to escape from the hideout undetected, and both the Russian and Chinese gangs begin a frantic search for her, hoping to be the first to find her. May eventually makes her way to a subway station where Luke, who was contemplating suicide, spots her. He hesitates when he sees her scared and helpless, and realizes that the same gangsters who killed his wife are also after her. May gets on a subway to escape, but the gangsters spot her and give chase. Luke realizes that something is not right and decides to rescue May. He jumps onto the subway and fights off all the Russian gang members who are after her. One of them recognizes Luke as the man they had beaten up a year ago and is surprised by how easily he defeats their group. However, the man is also killed in the confrontation, and Luke finally meets May. But when the subway stops, May runs away with the crowd, mistaking Luke for one of the bad guys. As Luke tries to find her, he overhears a red alert code being broadcast to all the police officers. He realizes that May is being hunted not only by the mafia, but also by corrupt cops who are willing to hand her over to them. After a short while, two cops who had previously assaulted Luke spot May and attempt to take her. Just in time, Luke intervenes and quickly subdues them, revealing that he had only remained passive before because he had chosen to. Though May remains hesitant, she joins Luke in a car as the Russian gangsters close in. The two engage in a fast-paced car chase through the busy Manhattan streets. Eventually, Luke defeats all the Russian assailants, takes their wallets, and takes May to a luxurious hotel. At a different location, the captain is shocked to learn that May was taken by force by Luke, as Luke had not been involved in any criminal activities since he left the police force. Meanwhile, after they check into the hotel, May begins to trust Luke and confides in him about the numbers she memorized. Upon examining the format of the numbers, Luke realizes that they represent the combination to a safe. May reveals to Luke that there was supposed to be a second number to memorize before the Russian mafia attacked, indicating that there are likely two safes containing valuable items being traded by the Chinese mafia. However, their conversation is cut short as Chang, using a tracking device in May's phone, locates their hotel and initiates a shootout with his henchmen. Panic ensues as people scramble for safety amidst the chaos. After separating from May during the shootout, Luke engages in a fist fight with the gangsters. In the chaos, Chang manages to grab May while Luke narrowly escapes death. He realizes that he cannot abandon May and is willing to do whatever it takes to rescue her. Luke decides to contact Vasily, the son of the Russian gang leader Emil, using a phone he stole earlier. Vasily is also the one who murdered Luke's wife a year ago. To save May and avenge his wife's death, Luke pretends to be a member of their gang and claims to have the number they're all looking for. Vasily believes him and arranges a meeting at a casino. Meanwhile, the city's mayor summons the corrupt police captain to his office to discuss the shootings. The mayor reveals that Luke wasn't an ordinary cop, but a CIA agent who was assigned to the police force after the 9/11 attacks. During his time there, he and his former partner Alex assassinated several crime bosses to establish order. It turns out that the mayor and Alex are also corrupt, just like the others. However, Luke had to quit after exposing the corrupt ways of the captain and his squad. Alex stayed and used his charms to rise in ranks, becoming the mayor's boyfriend and continuing his corrupt practices. As the captain learns the truth about Luke's past, he realizes that he underestimated him all along. Meanwhile, the mayor becomes anxious when he learns that May and Luke are together, as if he knows something about the safes and their combination. Meanwhile, Han interrogates Mei to determine if she has shared the safe's combination with anyone. She denies it and claims that she pretended not to understand English. Cheng contacts Alex and informs him that they have Mei, and they can proceed with the meeting. Later, it is revealed that the Chinese mafia was negotiating with the mayor and his corrupt partner, Alex. The contents of their safes are unknown, but they are being traded in this deal. After arriving at the casino, Luke locates the Russian gangsters and launches an ambush on all of Vasily's henchmen. He takes Vasily hostage, intending to use him as leverage to intimidate the Russian leader, Emil. Luke then calls Emil and demands to know what is inside the safe in exchange for Vasily's release. Emil reveals that the safe in the Chinese gangster's possession contains $30 million, while the safe in the mayor's possession holds something of equal value. The plan was for the parties to exchange the contents using Mei, but the Russians intervened and disrupted the plan. Despite the setback, the plan has been set in motion again with the Chinese having Mei. As a result, Chang goes to meet with Alex to finalize the trade. Luke's only hope of rescuing her rests with him obtaining $30 million from the Chinese mafia prior to the exchange. Knowing that the safe was concealed in an area of Chinatown heavily guarded by the criminals, Luke turns to his former police partners for assistance. They accept the mission, but only for the money. The team forges into the safe house, beginning a shootout. During their journey to the locker, many gangsters and cops are killed. Upon arrival, Luke betrays the cops and shoots them all dead, except for the captain, who he takes hostage along with Vasily. He then takes the money from the safe and heads towards the mayor's office. Along the way, Luke contacts Alex and demands to know the contents of the second safe. With Luke in possession of the money, Alex is forced to comply with his demands. He reveals that the second safe belongs to the mayor and contains a disc with dot on every crime syndicate in New York. The group faces numerous casualties, including gangsters and cops, on their way to the locker. Upon reaching the locker, Luke turns against the cops and kills them all except for the captain, who he holds hostage with Vasily. He also takes the money from the safe and heads to the mayor's office. While on his way, he contacts Alex and demands to know the contents of the second safe. Since Luke already has the money, Alex has no choice but to comply. He reveals that the second safe contains a disc with dot on every crime syndicate in New York, which the mayor planned to sell to the Chinese for $30 million. However, since the money has already been stolen, Alex kills Chang and his gang and brings Mei along to meet Luke as instructed. In the next scene, Luke barges into the mayor's office and forces him to hand over the disc with the crime syndicate data. Luke then knocks the mayor unconscious and meets Alex to exchange Mei for the money. Despite possessing both the money and the information, Alex has something special Mei. When they meet, Luke suggests settling the dispute with a fight instead of cooperating with the exchange. Alex prepares to fight, but Mei shoots him in the leg, giving Luke the chance to easily kill him. With the money and the disc in hand, Luke and Mei are finally free. In order to ensure Mei's safety, Luke releases the captain with $50,000 as compensation for his involvement in the events. He also allows Vasily to go free so the Russians would not seek revenge against them. However, there is still Han, the leader of the Chinese mafia, who lost both his money and Mei to Luke. Luke decides to send Han all of the remaining money so that he won't go looking for Mei anymore. He also takes precautions to protect himself and Mei by hiding several copies of the disc throughout the city. In case anyone tries to harm them, they can use the information on the disc as a way to blackmail powerful individuals. In the final scene, Mei and Luke are seen driving to Seattle, presumably to start a new life together with their newfound wealth and protection. They leave behind the chaos and danger of New York and embark on a new journey with hope for a better future. Subscribe for more videos like this, and thank you for joining us into our review. We hope you had as much fun watching it as we did breaking it down for you.